Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the December 21st, 2022 meeting of the Planning Commission. I'd like to start off the meeting by welcoming our new member, Commissioner Sam Baskin. Thank you for your service, and I appreciate you being here. Hopefully we won't bore you to death. Yeah, there you go. Clerk, could you please do a roll call of members?
Chair Lavin.
Here.
Vice Chair Marino.
Here.
Commissioner Maskin.
Here.
Commissioner Stanton. Commissioner Thomas. Commissioner Sangari Daniels. Commissioner Baxter.
Here.
Councilmember Richter.
Here.
Great. Is there any correspondence?
There is none.
Thank you. Now, review of the minutes from the October 19th meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Maskin, seconded by Vice Chair Marino. We can just do voice vote. All those in favor of approving the October 19th minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, I guess that's unanimous. I don't have to do all opposed or whatever. Okay, so new business. We have before us a site plan application for Leona Dowden. She is not present as of 7:05. So I'd like to open the floor for discussion of how to proceed. You can just
I think you should table it, but it's really got to be before.
Leslie?
I was just gonna say, I think we should put on the record that she didn't receive the notice to be here, so it's not that she didn't come to the planning commission, but
I
that she
agree.
didn't wanna be here.
I agree.
I concur. You need a motion to table?
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made to table the site plan application, but made by Commissioner Maskin. Do I have a second? Seconded by Vice Chair Marino. Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Chair Lavin.
Yes.
Vice Chair Marino.
Yes.
Commissioner Maskin.
Yes.
Commissioner Maskin.
Yes.
Is there any other business that folks would like to discuss?
We'll have a zoning update that I'm gonna have. I'm gonna send it to the planning commission probably next week, so that you guys can provide comment. I mean, it's not an official public, it's not like a public hearing, but I'm gonna send it so that you can hear some sort of, you can kind of see it. We could potentially maybe discuss it at the January meeting, but also just to get feedback on it.
Sure. And just to clarify, it's the U-zone, proposed U-zone changes?
Correct.
And those changes will follow kind of our traditional, or like current zoning code updates, in that it's be a transect-based code as opposed to our traditional Euclidean zone. Just for anyone who views this on YouTube, the transect-based code regulates land use primarily based on the form and massing of the building, the design, rather than the actual specific type of use. It's much more permissive, but gives the city much more discretion over how buildings are designed and the overall look, in a nutshell.
So it'll be similar to the MB1 code. Lots of pictures.
Much more accessible, equitable. It's, more effective for Stephen to do his job and for us to do ours. So, we're looking forward to seeing it. Anybody have any questions about that? If you want,
I did have a note, I'm not sure if it's part of this or not, but we just talked a few minutes ago about smaller projects and smaller things, maybe out of codes instead of coming to the commission, is that part of this? Or no, oh it is, okay.
So we eliminated this in the MU1 zone, we'll eliminate it in the U zone as well. Now that we've passed the CLG ordinance, one of the intents of this whole site plan review section and demolition section was to prevent the demolition of structures that the city viewed as like aesthetic or like historically significant. Now that we've kind of changed the code to protect those in a more direct way, we can start talking about removing this. Also, I honestly think that some of this site plan review for these smaller structures is actually a typo within our code. Cause there's some,
Really?
yeah, there's some weird conflicting language in the site plan review section that I think the intent of this was to prevent, or was to require site plan review for certain structures in certain zones, but I think it was written, and not kind of edited correctly. So I think that this was actually potentially a typo, that we've been kind of rolling with for about 5 years or 10 years or however long this code's been, well, since 2013.
It's like a misplaced comment in the Constitution.
Right. Yeah, so I think that looking at this, I think we could start kind of addressing this, so that we're not doing these garage reviews or, I mean, honestly, holding people up from doing a small garage just to do site plan review.
Yeah.
Cause yeah, it's kind of especially in like a commercial industrial zone where you can theoretically build like a 4,000 or 10,000 square foot factory building and, you
And
know.
especially in Patterson, when you don't have quorum, and people have to wait a month.
Right.
For small projects.
Yeah. And that's, so the MU1 zone kind of eliminated all of that except the architectural review part of it, which is there because of that historic review portion. The planning commission won't do that anymore. It'll go to the historic preservation board, which we just kind of finalized last night.
You're only talking about the historic districts.
Right.
That occurs.
Yes.
So it's only Walnut Street and Main Street
Right.
for the moment.
Yeah.
So then, I think that, you know, it would be based on follow the same process where the smaller projects, below a certain square footage or size or use would, be handled by administratively by codes, whereas other like bigger projects would be handled by us.
I think part of reviewing garages and stuff like that will be establishing a very specific, this is what's a garage, this is what the materials look like, this is what the final, I think what we'll wanna do is kind of essentially set up like a form for garages, like,
Pre-approved, almost like the pre-approved design standards that we're looking for.
right, so that when we get an application in the office, we can click through it and go boom, 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 approve, not make a public hearing for a one or two car garage.
And it kind of makes, as we proceed more to having this, city at large being covered by transit-based code, that kind of makes sense for like a wide variety of uses too. So to dramatically streamline the review process. I think like the only, event where a much more detailed thing would be, required is like a more large scale development with many different features. Like, I don't know.
Lots on deeds.
Lofts on deeds, like a mixed use building with like a parking garage or something, that would.
Yeah.
But I think that would reduce the amount of bureaucracy and confusion related to the code, reduce the number of variance requests, and overall good, kind of.
Would the secret process ever come into play with this stuff?
So currently, the downtown code, the threshold is type 1 actions. So any action that would be classified as a type 1 action under seeker automatically requires site plan review. So it eliminates all the little like rehabs of existing structures from site plan review. It eliminates garages. It eliminates like these little, but the threshold becomes like that, once you crest that type 1 action. Those all become site plan review requirements. And I think the cutoff for a project is like, I think new construction, it's like a 5,000 square foot structure. So a larger, and even downtown, a 5,000 square foot structure is not excessive. I mean, I've built 4,000 square foot houses, so.
It's
not-
not
not
a lot.
massive.
I mean, I think like, in the event that there's like an unlisted action, I don't know, in theory that, may trigger site plan, you can always kick it back up.
Yeah, and the MU1 code gives the code office the discretion to move any project to site plan review. So we have the discretionary ability to say, we think that this project is likely going to have an impact, we can push it into site plan review.
So it seems flexible.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions about this? We're excited to see it. I think it'll be great. Really definitely, I think, coverage of the new U zone will dramatically improve West Street. if there's no more discussion, I'll move to motion to adjourn. Or not, it's not business.
So,
Motion made by Vice Chair Marino to adjourn, second. Seconded by Commissioner Baskin.
For a fact.
Okay, there we go. All those in favor say aye.